I never thought my own family would steal from me, but looking at my bank statement that Wednesday morning, I felt sick to my stomach. My name is Sarah Chen, 31, and until last week, I thought I had everything figured out. A successful career as a financial analyst at Morgan Stanley, a beautiful apartment in downtown Boston, and what I believed was a close-knit family. How wrong I was about that last part. The day started normally enough. I was reviewing quarterly reports in my office when my phone buzzed. An automated alert from my bank about unusual activity. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. Then I saw the numbers. $47,000 in transfers over the past week, all to accounts I didn't recognize. My hands shaking, I called the bank's fraud department. Ms. Chen, these transfers were authorized using your online banking credentials, the representative explained. The IP address matches your home network. That's when it hit me, last week's family dinner at my place. Mom had asked to use my laptop to check her email while I was cooking. I'd given her my password without thinking twice. She was my mother after all. The memory of that evening came flooding back. Mom, Dad, my younger sister Emma, and my brother Jake all gathered around my dining table. They'd been acting strange, exchanging looks, whispering among themselves. I'd been too busy serving dinner to notice. We need to discuss something important, Dad had said after dessert. The family's financial situation. I should have seen the red flags. The way they'd insisted on coming to my place instead of meeting at their house. How they'd arranged for all the siblings to be present, unusual for a regular family dinner. Emma's daycare business is struggling, Mom explained. Jake's startup needs capital. Your father and I, well, retirement isn't what we planned. I remember taking a sip of wine, waiting for the other shoe to drop. It didn't take long. We've been thinking, Emma said, leaning forward. You're the only one of us who's really made it, Sarah. Single, successful, no kids to support. What exactly are you suggesting? I'd asked, although deep down, I already knew. We took a vote, Dad announced proudly, like he was sharing great news. As a family, we decided you should help support everyone. You make more than all of us combined. I nearly choked on my wine. You took a vote about my money. Don't be selfish, honey, Mom chided. Family helps family. We're not asking for much, just enough to keep everyone comfortable. I looked around the table at their expectant faces. My sister, who'd refused to get a real job after her daycare failed, insisting she was meant to be an entrepreneur. My brother, whose string of failed startups hadn't stopped him from buying a luxury car. My parents, who'd remortgaged their house to fund Jake's latest venture. I need time to think about this, I'd said finally, trying to keep my voice steady. They'd seemed disappointed but nodded, gathering their things to leave. Now, staring at my bank statement, I understood why they'd accepted my non-answer so easily. They'd already helped themselves to my money. My hands trembling with rage, I pulled out my phone and dialed Mom's number. She answered on the second ring, her voice cheerful. Sarah, sweetie, I was just thinking about you. Cut the act, Mom, I interrupted. The bank just called about $47,000 in unauthorized transfers from my account. Want to explain? There was a pause, then her voice turned defensive. We voted on this, Sarah. You're the only one who can afford to help the family. We knew you'd say no if we asked directly. You've always been so selfish with your money. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Selfish? I paid for Jake's coding boot camp last year. I covered Emma's rent for 6 months when her business was struggling. I helped with Dad's medical bills. That's different, Mom insisted. Those were one-time things. The family needs ongoing support, and you're the logical choice. Single, no kids, that big salary. So you decided to steal from me? My voice was shaking now, but not from fear, from fury. Don't be dramatic, honey. We're family, it's not stealing. Besides, we left you plenty. It's not like we emptied your account. I closed my eyes, counting to 10 before responding. Mom, what you did is fraud. It's a crime. I want the money returned by the end of the day, or I'm going to the police. Mom's voice turned cold. You wouldn't dare. We're your family. Try me. I hung up before she could respond. Opening my desk drawer, I pulled out a small digital recorder, a habit I developed after years of working in finance where documentation was everything. Last week's dinner conversation was saved on it, including their admission of planning to access my accounts. My phone started buzzing with texts. Emma, stop being dramatic. You don't even need all that money. Jake, you're really going to put Mom and Dad through this? Dad, your mother is crying. I hope you're happy. I blocked their numbers one by one, my hands steady now. Opening my laptop, I began documenting everything: the unauthorized transfers, screenshots of the bank alerts, timestamps of the conversations. Last week's dinner recording would be the final nail in the coffin. A new text came through from an unknown number. Mom using Dad's phone. Family meeting? Tonight, 7 p.m. Don't you dare go to the police before we talk. I smiled grimly, typing out my response. I'll be there, and I'm bringing something you all need to hear. Gathering my things, I left the office early. I had some preparations to make before tonight's meeting. They thought they could vote to steal my money? Well, I had a few surprises of my own planned. As I drove home, I thought about all the times I helped them over the years. The loans that were never repaid. The emergency expenses that somehow always fell to me. I'd been their safety net for so long, I hadn't noticed the net becoming a noose. But that ended today. Sometimes the hardest part of loving your family is learning when to stop letting them take advantage of you. Tonight, they'd learned that lesson too, whether they wanted to or not. The drive to my parents' suburban home felt longer than usual. My recorder sat in my purse, along with a folder containing all the bank statements and transfer records. I'd also brought something else, my resignation letter from the family ATM position, so to speak. I pulled into the driveway at exactly 7 p.m. Everyone's cars were already there. Of course they'd arrive early to coordinate their stories. Through the living room window, I could see them huddled together, probably planning their attack strategy. Taking a deep breath, I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Mom opened it before I could knock, her face a mask of maternal concern. Sarah, honey, we're so glad you came. We need to talk about this like adults. The living room fell silent as I entered. Dad sat in his usual recliner, looking stern. Emma and Jake occupied the couch, both trying to appear casual and failing miserably. A plate of Mom's famous chocolate chip cookies sat untouched on the coffee table, her classic manipulation tactic. Yes, I said, remaining standing. We do need to talk. Let's start with the $47,000 you stole from my account. Now that's exactly the kind of hostile attitude we don't need, Dad interjected, leaning forward. We're family. We make decisions as a family. Decisions about my money, without my consent. I pulled out my phone and set it on the coffee table. Did you know it's illegal to access someone's bank account without their permission, even if you're family? Emma rolled her eyes. Oh, please stop being so dramatic. It's not like you can't afford it. You make, what, $200,000 a year? Meanwhile, I'm struggling to keep my business afloat. The business you've refused to adapt despite losing money for 2 years straight. I shot back. The one you won't let anyone help restructure because you know what you're doing. That's not fair, Mom cut in. Your sister is following her dreams, just because you chose a soulless corporate job. A job that apparently makes me your personal piggy bank. I interrupted. Let's be clear about what happened here. You came to my house, distracted me while Mom stole my banking passwords, then helped yourselves to my money without my permission. Jake shifted uncomfortably. We tried to talk to you about helping the family, but you always make excuses. Excuses? I laughed incredulously. You mean like last month when I said no to investing in your third failed startup? The one you promised would be different this time. That's enough. Dad stood up, his face reddening. We made a family decision. You have more than enough money, and family helps family. Your mother and I sacrificed everything to put you through college, which I paid back, every cent, with interest. I cut in. But that's not even the point. This isn't about helping family. This is about theft. I reached into my purse and pulled out my recorder. Before we continue this discussion, I think we should all listen to something. Mom's face paled. What is that? Just a recording from our dinner last week. You know, when you were planning all this? I pressed play, and their voices filled the room. She's got too much money for her own good anyway, Jake's voice said. Once we have her passwords, we can set up regular transfers, Emma added. She'll be angry at first, but she'll get over it, Mom assured everyone. Better to ask forgiveness than permission, Dad chuckled. I stopped the recording. The room was dead silent. That's, Emma stammered, you can't record people without their permission. Actually, Massachusetts is a one-party consent state, I said calmly. I only needed my own permission to record that conversation. And I have lots more, every financial discussion we've had for the past year, in fact, including the ones where you planned this theft. It wasn't theft, Mom protested, but her voice wavered. We're family. Yes, you keep saying that, I said, pulling out the folder of bank statements. Family, like when you transferred $12,000 to Emma's personal account, not her business account, or the $15,000 to Jake's new consulting company, or the $20,000 to your joint account, Mom and Dad. Want to explain those? They exchanged panicked looks. Dad cleared his throat. Now, Sarah, let's not do anything hasty. Like go to the police, I suggested, or the FBI. Because unauthorized access to online banking falls under federal jurisdiction. You wouldn't? Mom whispered. We're your parents. Parents don't steal from their children, I said quietly. Parents don't exploit their children. And parents certainly don't organize their other children to help them rob their daughter's bank account. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Here's what's going to happen. You have 24 hours to return every cent you took. If you don't, I'm going to the police with the recordings, bank records, and IP address logs showing exactly when and where you accessed my account. But we've already spent some of it, Jake admitted, looking at the floor. Then I suggest you take out loans, sell something, or figure something out fast. I picked up my phone. And one more thing, I'm done being the family ATM. No more loans, no more handouts, no more financial help of any kind. Sarah, please, Mom stood up, reaching for me. We can work this out. We're family. Stop saying that, I snapped, stepping back. Family doesn't do this to each other. Family doesn't vote to steal from each other. Family doesn't betray trust like this. Tears were streaming down Mom's face now, but I felt nothing. All those years of guilt trips, emotional manipulation, being made to feel selfish for having boundaries, they'd burned away, leaving only cold clarity. 24 hours, I repeated, heading for the door. And if you ever try to access my accounts again, I'll press charges immediately. You'll regret this, Emma called after me. When you need your family, I turned back one last time. I already regret trusting you all as long as I did. Don't contact me unless it's about returning my money. The drive home was a blur. My phone kept buzzing with texts and calls. But I ignored them all. I'd said everything I needed to say. Now it was their turn to face the consequences of their actions. As I walked into my apartment, I felt lighter somehow. Setting my purse down, I poured myself a glass of wine and stepped out onto my balcony. The city lights twinkled below, and for the first time in years, I felt truly free. Sometimes the hardest choices are the healthiest ones. Sometimes love means saying no, and sometimes the only way to help your family is to stop helping them at all. My phone buzzed again. A text from Dad. We'll find a way to return the money. Please don't do this to your mother. I didn't respond. They needed to learn that actions have consequences, that relationships have boundaries, and that trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. Tomorrow would bring what it would bring. For tonight, I had stood my ground, found my voice, and finally, put myself first. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and over 100 text messages. My family had been busy all night, cycling through their usual tactics: guilt, anger, manipulation, and finally, desperation. Mom, I raised you better than this. How can you do this to your own mother? Emma, my landlord's threatening eviction. If I lose my apartment, it's on you. Jake, look, I can return some of it, but I already invested most of it in my startup. Dad, your mother hasn't slept all night. She's having chest pains. Are you happy now? I scrolled through them while sipping my morning coffee, feeling oddly detached. In the past, any one of these messages would have sent me spiraling into guilt. Now they just confirmed I'd made the right decision. My phone rang, an unknown number. Expecting another family member, I almost declined it, but something made me answer. Ms. Chen, this is Detective Morris from the Boston Police Department. We received an unusual complaint from your parents this morning. I sat up straighter. What kind of complaint? They're claiming you're extorting them. Something about threatening to press charges unless they pay you money. He sounded skeptical. Given the family relationship, I wanted to hear your side before proceeding. I couldn't help but laugh. Detective, I have recordings of my family planning to steal from my bank account, bank statements showing unauthorized transfers of $47,000, and IP logs proving they accessed my account without permission. I simply asked them to return what they stole. Silence on the line. Then, I see. And do you have documentation of all this? Every bit of it. Would you like me to come down to the station? Please do. This changes things considerably. An hour later, I sat in Detective Morris's office, laying out my evidence. His expression grew increasingly grave as he reviewed everything. Ms. Chen, your family committed several serious crimes here, he said finally. Bank fraud, unauthorized access, theft. Are you sure you don't want to press charges? Not yet, I replied. They have until 7 p.m. today to return the money. After that, he nodded, understanding. We'll keep this report on file. And don't worry about their complaint. It's clear they're trying to get ahead of their own criminal behavior. As I left the police station, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. How dare you talk to the police? After everything we've done for you. I typed back, the police called Minnie about your false complaint. Would you like to explain that to the detective handling your fraud case? No response. Back at my apartment, I began taking precautions. I called my bank and changed all my passwords, adding extra security measures. I emailed my HR department to block any attempts to access my employment records. I even called my building security to put my family on a no-entry list. At 3 p.m., the first transfer came through, $15,000 from Jake. Had to sell my car. His accompanying text read, Hope you're happy. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sad either. By 5 p.m., Emma had returned her share, $12,000. Borrowed it from my ex, she messaged. You've ruined everything. 6:30 p.m., and still nothing from my parents. Their $20,000 was the largest chunk, and the deadline was approaching. My finger hovered over Detective Morris's number. At 6:57 p.m., the final transfer appeared in my account. No message from my parents, just the money, returned with exactly 3 minutes to spare. I thought I'd feel relieved. Instead, I felt empty. My family had stolen from me, tried to frame me when caught, and only returned the money under threat of prosecution. There was no apology, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing, just anger that their plan had failed. My doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw them all. Mom, Dad, Emma, and Jake, standing in the hallway. Sarah, open up, Mom called. We did what you wanted. We returned the money. Now let's talk like family. I pressed the intercom button. There's nothing to talk about. You stole from me, tried to file a false police report against me, and only returned the money to avoid charges. We're done. You can't just cut us off, Emma shouted. We're blood. Blood doesn't steal from blood, I replied calmly. Please leave before I call security. This isn't over, Jake warned. You'll need us someday. I watched through the camera as they finally left, their threats and pleading echoing down the hallway. They were right about one thing. This wasn't over. But not in the way they thought. Opening my laptop, I began typing. Dear family, your actions have shown me exactly where I stand with you, not as a daughter or sister, but as a convenient source of money. You've demonstrated that you'll steal from me, lie about me, and try to manipulate me without remorse. Consider this my final communication. Any further attempts to contact me, access my accounts, or harass me will result in immediate legal action. I have all the evidence needed to press charges, and next time, I won't give you a chance to return the money first. Goodbye, Sarah. I hit send, then blocked their email addresses too. Standing on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold, I felt the last chains of obligation fall away. Sometimes the family you're born into shows you why you need to build your own family, one based on trust, respect, and genuine love, not manipulation and greed. My journey to that new family started today. 6 months can change everything. Half a year after my family's attempted theft, my life had transformed in ways I never expected. The first month was the hardest. They tried everything to regain control, showing up at my office. Security escorted them out, sending flying monkeys in the form of distant relatives. I blocked them all, even attempting to access my accounts again. The bank's new security measures stopped them cold. But the most surprising change wasn't in their behavior, it was in mine. Without the constant drain of family obligations, I discovered who I really was. I joined a support group for victims of financial abuse, something I'd never considered myself to be before. Sitting in that circle of chairs every Wednesday evening, listening to others share similar stories of family exploitation, I finally understood. I wasn't alone, and I wasn't wrong to protect myself. The hardest part, I shared during one session, is that they still don't think they did anything wrong. In their minds, my money was family money and I was selfish for keeping it. Maria, our group facilitator, nodded in understanding. That's common with financial abusers. They feel entitled to your resources and they'll never acknowledge the theft because, in their minds, they were taking what was rightfully theirs. Those words stayed with me, helping me resist when guilt crept in during quiet moments. 3 months after the incident, I received a certified letter from my parents' lawyer. They were demanding repayment of all expenses related to my upbringing and education, an itemized list totaling over $300,000. I showed it to my own lawyer, who actually laughed. "This is desperate intimidation," she assured me. "They have no legal standing. Would you like me to respond?" "No," I decided. "They're trying to provoke a reaction. Let's not give them one." The letter joined my growing file of documentation, alongside the recordings and bank statements, just in case. 4 months in, Emma's daycare business finally failed. She tried to blame me in a lengthy social media post, claiming her selfish sister's abandonment had ruined her dreams. I didn't respond, but I did smile when several comments pointed out that her business had been failing long before our falling out. Jake's startup collapsed too. He sent me one final text before I blocked his new number. "I hope you're happy. Your own brother is bankrupt because you wouldn't help family." I was happy, but not because of their failures. I was happy because, for the first time in my adult life, I was living for myself. I took the vacation I'd always postponed because someone always needed money for an emergency. 2 weeks in Japan, exploring temples, eating incredible food, and not once checking my phone for desperate family messages. I started dating again, meeting Tom at a local photography class I finally had time to take. He was kind, successful in his own right, and most importantly, understood boundaries. When I told him about my family situation on our 3rd date, he didn't judge or push. "Family should lift you up, not drain you dry," he said simply. 5 months after the theft attempt, I got the promotion I've been working toward. Executive Director of Financial Analysis, with a substantial raise and equity package. In the past, I would have kept this news quiet, knowing my family would see it as an opportunity to demand more. Now, I celebrated openly with my friends and colleagues. That same week, I received another letter, this one handwritten from Mom. "Dear Sarah, your father had a minor heart attack last week. The doctors say stress was a factor. I hope you're satisfied with what your selfishness has done to this family. If you have any love left in your heart, please help with the medical bills. Love, Mom." I checked Dad's Facebook profile. There were recent posts about his golf game and photos from a family barbecue. No hospital visits, no health scares. Another manipulation attempt as transparent as glass. Yesterday marked exactly 6 months since that fateful morning when my bank called about unauthorized transfers. I sat on my balcony, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise, reflecting on everything that had changed. My phone buzzed, a text from Maria, our support group facilitator. 6 months is a big milestone. Proud of you for staying strong. I smiled, typing back, "Thank you for everything." Later that evening, Tom and I were cooking dinner in my apartment when my doorman called up. "Ms. Chen, your parents and siblings are in the lobby. They're quite insistent about seeing you." I glanced at Tom, who squeezed my hand supportively. "It's your call," he said quietly. Taking a deep breath, I pressed the intercom. "Please tell them that my position hasn't changed. They need to leave, or you'll call the police." "Of course, Ms. Chen." Tom and I continued cooking, making homemade pasta while jazz played softly in the background. No drama, no guilt, no manipulation. Just peace. My phone lit up with a final text from an unknown number. Mom using yet another new phone. "We're your family. You can't ignore us forever. One day you'll be alone and regret this." I showed the message to Tom, who raised an eyebrow. "Are you okay?" "Actually, yes," I replied, blocking the number. "I'm not alone. I have real family now, the kind you choose, the kind that respects boundaries and celebrates your success instead of trying to exploit it." I glanced around my peaceful apartment, at the life I'd built for myself, at the man who supported my decisions without trying to control them. This was what family should feel like. Later that night, I added one final entry to my journal. 6 months ago, my family took a vote about my money. They decided I should support them all. And when I refused, they tried to take what they wanted anyway. They thought they were voting on my financial future, but really, they were voting themselves out of my life. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is the courage to let go of toxic family. Sometimes the hardest choice is the healthiest one. And sometimes, when you finally break free from those who would drain you dry, you find something better. Peace, self-respect, and the chance to build a new kind of family, one based on love, not obligation, support, not exploitation, respect, not manipulation. They were right about one thing: I won't be able to ignore them forever. But that's because I won't need to. Each day that passes, they have less and less power over me. Their guilt trips fall flat, their manipulation attempts seem transparent, and their demands feel increasingly absurd. I didn't just protect my bank account that day. I protected my future, my peace of mind, and my right to live life on my own terms. And that's worth more than all the money they tried to steal. I closed my journal and joined Tom on the balcony. The city lights twinkled below, 1,000 stars reflecting the brightness of my new beginning. Some might call it a sad ending, the daughter who cut off her family over money. But I know better. This isn't an ending at all. It's a beginning, the start of a life lived authentically, bounded by healthy limits, and rich in the truest sense of the word. After all, some things are worth more than money: self-respect, peace of mind, the ability to trust. And sometimes, to keep those precious things, you have to be willing to let go of everything else, even family.